Joe here from Joe Mineo Creative. And you probably haven't seen us for a little while, but we're definitely starting up on all of our video blogs, especially for the holidays that are coming up. So we thought we'd start something here today that revolves around fall, right? We're right about the middle of September, and right around the corner the leaves are going to be falling. I noticed that on my front yard as I was driving out today on my way to work. So I like the idea of creating something for your front door, right? Something that's kind of inviting, and that's what we're going to show you today. Something that's really easy. You know, I always like something that's very easy that anyone can create. So these are the items that we're going to be working with today. First, we're going to show you the galvanized pots. Now, galvanized is really popular right now in so many different elements, using in entertainment and home accessories, so we wanted to show you something with galvanized. Obviously, we're going to use some fall leaves, some dried product, wheat and cattails. We need a little bit of styrofoam, some oversized sunflowers, all of it also artificial, and maybe some pumpkins or gourds, okay? So those are some of the items that we're going to be using to make our great wall piece. So I'm just going to move those over to the side and start off with what our foundation is going to be, which is a long, narrow piece of wood. Now, this is a 1x2 piece of wood. I cut it about 30 inches long, and I drilled 2 holes in 3 different areas. And I'm going to show you why we did that in just a moment, and why we placed them where we did. We also just went ahead and painted the wood brown. It makes it a little bit easier, so when you're covering your wood, you don't have to cover every little detail. If you leave it the natural color, by spray painting it first, you're making it a little bit easier for yourself a little bit later. We went ahead and used some twine in between, as you can see, and then we're going to be attaching our galvanized pots, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put that to the side, take our galvanized pot. Now, if you notice, this does have 2 handles on either end because we're going to be suspending it from our wood just like so. We're going to go ahead and take this handle and just twist it down a bit, like so. And we're going to be adding our styrofoam right inside. Now, what I want to make sure you understand is you never want to hot glue styrofoam into any kind of pot. The reason is the hot glue is a little bit too hot and it will melt the styrofoam. The product I also use a lot of, and you'll see it because my electric skillet is very dirty because I use it so much. It's just a very simple $20 electric skillet. We use small glue pellets that you throw in, and you can actually adjust the temperature. So if you want it really hot, or if you want it cooler, you can adjust that. Obviously, we want it a little bit cooler so it doesn't melt our styrofoam. We're just going to dip that right into our glue, and we're just going to push that right in, right? Just like so. Now, if you don't do a lot of crafting, and you're like, oh, I don't know that I really want to go buy this pot and deal with all of this, you can certainly use hot glue, but what I would suggest is that you put a nice amount of hot glue inside your pot first and let it just cool for maybe 45 seconds. That'll bring the temperature down, and then add your styrofoam so it won't melt the styro. I'm just going to move that back over a little bit. Okay, great. So we have our pot with our styro. We're then going to take our oversized sunflower. Now, what I did earlier, just to speed things up, is I used my electric drill and I drilled right through the sunflower head. I'm going to take my gourd. Now, I purchased this gourd at the craft store, and if you notice, it has a stem on it. The reason is because I want to be able to go ahead and put the gourd right through the sunflower head, okay? I'm then going to add a little bit of hot glue to the edge. I'm going to blow on that a little bit, bring the temperature down, and we're going to incorporate it right into the top of the pot, like so. So it almost makes like a little topiary, right? Okay, great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take our pot and I'm going to attach it to the top of our piece of wood. So using our twine I mentioned to you before, I'm going to go ahead and put that down, make it a little easier. Wrap it around. Now, I put the first 2 holes into the wood, maybe about 2 inches from the top, because we want the first pot to be very high in the design, and you'll see why. So we're going to wire that on, and got a couple more already done for us. Speed our process up a little. Okay. And we're going to take our twine, we're going to wire these babies on, like so, and one more at the very bottom. Now, the trick about this is we are going to use a little bit of glue also, because the last thing we want them to do is be flopping around every time we open and close our front door. So we're going to add a little bit of glue under our pots, and we're going to let that dry. Just like so. Let that dry for a little bit, and this is what we're looking at so far, right? So what we want to do now, guys, is we want to start hiding all of the wood that's in between each of our pots, giving it a little bit more depth. And how we're going to do that is we're going to be using wheat and cattails and any other dried product that you might like to use, anything that you think will work with your particular design. So what I'm doing is I'm making some small bundles of wheat. We probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 or 8 actual pieces. I'm taking floral tape and I'm just going to wrap that. Oh, I'm sorry, let me gather that around again. So you almost want to make like a little bouquet, right? And then we want to get our floral tape and we're going to wrap that for probably about 1.5 inches, like so, all right? And then we're going to cut the excess off. I always like to cut it a little bit on an angle because you're going to be seeing the ends of the wheat just as much as you're going to be seeing the tops. All right, so we're just going to put that aside. And then, oh look, a whole bundle already done. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our design, I'm going to work backwards, and we're just going to start taking our bundles and we're going to incorporate them in between. Again, you know, this is going to be something that's going to take a little bit of time because you're going to be gluing all of your small bundles throughout. So what I like to do is I'll start weaving it through. And what I'm doing is I'm actually putting globs of hot glue right on top of each of the bundles. And then it'll actually like kind of drip and create a mold. So we're going different ways. I love this actual orange dried product. It's almost like little fluffy cattails. I should probably know the name of that, but I don't. All right, a little bit more glue. And we're just crisscrossing all of these. I know when I first started in the floral industry, one of my favorite floral arrangements that I would make in the fall would be something that was very, very easy, but really dramatic. And it was very much including this concept of making bundles of wheat, larger bundles than these though, and then just attaching them in the centerpiece and getting all this wonderful dramatic line design going in, and then just filling in to hide my mechanics. And what you're going to be looking at now is something that looks like this. So if you notice, you've got all of the wheat and the cattails all going different ways, and it's actually giving the design a little bit more width, isn't it? All right, so the next part is to hide all of your mechanics. So all of that glue that you were putting in to keep all of the dried elements in place, you need to hide that, right? So we're just going to take a stem of some fall silk leaves, just going to take some off. I like to start with the larger leaves first and then go down to some smaller ones. So we're just going to take our leaves and we're going to hot glue them in. So then this way we're hiding all of our mechanics. Really, really easy. And it's also hiding that brown piece of wood we talked about earlier, that you don't really want to see that. Okay. And after we add our leaves in, the other element that we're going to add is some little orange button mums, right? We're just going to add those in also. And you really can't do this wrong, guys, because as long as you know that your goal is to hide the mechanics, you're good. There's really no design part to this. You're just kind of filling in the space. All right, we're going to add all of those in, and again, we're going to let them dry. So now that we're getting into the holidays, you know, we're going to be doing a lot more of our YouTube segments. We're really excited about that. We've got some really, really great things coming up. So check us out, check us out on joevideocreative.com. We've got lots of YouTube things going on. We've got our blog happening and a lot of other great things to get you ready for the holiday season. So we'll see you next time.